Gossip girl. That's actually so funny. Hello, and welcome to the Brighten Your Day show. I am your host. My name is Brighton, of course, and I hope that this is going to brighten your day. We have a very interesting timeline that we are all living in. Whether you believe in conspiracy theories or not, whether you believe in, I don't know, everything or not, it's fine. It doesn't matter because nothing is real and everything is fake no matter what. I'm just kidding, but that's essentially kind of the energy that I have been feeling in the world. It is overall absolutely chaotic. Overall unbelievable on every single hand, on every single plane of the earth. There is just crazy things happening. And I always sit here and I think about, like, okay, is it just me? Is it just our generation that thinks we lived through something crazy, and yet every generation thinks they lived through something crazy and it's like the craziest time of, the entire human civilization? And I do think like social media is confusing because then we're able to see, oh my gosh, the fire in the back, she's a little spicy and she's kind of broken and she just keeps like going to town. Anyways, I always wonder if people, in other civilizations are like, we lived in the craziest time period. No, we lived in the craziest time period. And I think social media, like, kind of obscures things for us because we're able to see all of the atrocities around the world all at once, and that does something to us where we truly believe we are living in the craziest time. But I have to tell you, I am not a political channel. I will give my thoughts when I want to give my thoughts. Hence, put the Sydney Sweeney clip.
I think that when I have an issue that I want to speak about, people will hear.
I can't remember what she says. She's like, if I have something to speak on, I'll speak on it. But anyways, I'm not a political channel, but I will give my thoughts where I feel like I have something to say out loud and in public. And I have to say, what is happening in the world is crazy. Specifically with the US government right now, and if you are watching this later, there's certain files. There's certain files that are, some people are trying not to release them, but there's certain files that are trying to be released out into the public, and it just got voted on. Now, I was sitting crafting this episode, and I just have to say, here's the thing. Whoever is doing these files, whoever is putting them together, whether it's just Jeffrey or other people that had to do with him or whatnot, I just have to say it kind of gives me like Gossip Girl vibes, and I do not want this to be too satirical to the point where I'm like making light and making fun of these absolute atrocities that are happening right now, and that did happen. I'm not. I think it's completely serious, and yeah, I'll just leave it at that. But I have to just say, it kind of reminds me of Gossip Girl. Jeffrey gives me Gossip Girl vibes, and to that I say, I feel like he was sitting, whether you believe he's alive or not, was sitting there and was like, hello upper, I can't even say it. He was like, hello Upper East Siders and world leaders of all kinds. I have a secret that you don't want out. I have a secret that you'll never tell. A good source has told me that you were doing something bad at these hotels or these yachts. And yeah, who knows? XOXO, Gossip Girl. That was actually bad. I haven't seen Gossip Girl in a fat minute. But I just keep thinking about how this is all working, and then how Gossip Girl essentially was a blackmailer. Was someone with a lot of connections and sources, and would air out to the public things that powerful Upper East Siders would not want us to know about. And it just kind of gives me that vibe. kind of gives me that vibe. I would not doubt if he wrote some of the monologues of Gossip Girl. This is awful. This is actually awful, but we're already here and we're already saying it. I just sit here and I'm like, what is this timeline I am in? What is this timeline we are all in as a society? Whether you believe it's a hoax or not, you can find other conspiracies that you believe in that I don't believe in, and you can find conspiracies I believe in that you don't believe in, and vice versa, right? We all have our things, and we all have things that are being proven correctly later on, after you get completely crapped on for thinking that there could be a conspiracy. Now, I have to say, for those of you who don't know, I have deleted social media off my phone, but quite recently I re-downloaded it onto my phone, and I have to say I completely regret that decision. I relapsed and I doom scrolled for 10 hours, possibly. I'm just kidding. I didn't really doom scroll for 10 hours. I was just on my phone and then perhaps doom scrolled for a few hours and really just didn't know where the time went. And I went down rabbit holes, and if you don't know me, I do that quite often. And I just sit here and sometimes I forget that this is real life. Sometimes when I'm doom scrolling and I'm looking on X, which you shouldn't, I never, ever feel like X is a good use of time, but I sit here and I actually quite forget that this is real. I forget that I am not watching a movie unfold, a TV series perhaps, maybe a spin-off of Gossip Girl. I forget that this is actually the timeline that I am living in as of right now. And this isn't just entertainment that I am just looking into for funsies. This actually has real world implications. And I feel like a lot of people forget that when they talk about it. So anyways, that's where my brain has been at. Also, this sun, man, this sun is really annoying. I'm gonna sit up. That is where my brain has been at, and I'm sure that a lot of your guys' brains have been there as well. And I sit here and I'm like, what do we do? I don't even know if there's anything we can do. I don't even know if you should trust anybody at this point in time. I don't know. But as my brain has been sitting in this kind of in this kind of land for the past, probably I'd say a week and a half, I had the craziest dream, and I need to tell you guys because it's just so fitting for what is happening in the world today and all the conspiracies that are kind of coming true. It's actually probably one of the most elaborate, interesting, creative dreams I've had in the past few years. So I went to bed, obviously, because that's how you have dreams. And I found myself in this hotel room with a group of girls. And there was like a group of girls and there's a group of boys, but they weren't like with us in the hotel room. They were just like staying at the same hotel because I think I was on some sort of work trip. Now, we got off work. I don't know if we got off work early. We just got off work and I wanted to have some fun. And my idea of fun, apparently, because of wherever we were, and I don't actually know where we were, I think it was some sort of rural, like, Midwestern type of state, like a Kansas or something like that. I don't know. It was just the vibe of my dream, okay? But I sit here and I'm telling my girls after we're done working, I'm like, I want to do something crazy. And I heard that there's something crazy that is here in this state and I want to break into it, okay? And these girls are like, yeah, we're down. Like, we're done with work. We want to do something crazy, some crazy girl shit, you know? And so anyways, what I had told them, because of my knowledge, for whatever reason, I knew this, or I had heard other reporting of this, is I had heard that the moon was fake and there was a moon facility in this rural state that I was in. I was like Kansas or Delaware, or the Dakotas or something, I can't remember. And I had heard it was fake and the facility was here. And I wanted to go sneak in and check it out. So these two other girls go with me. I don't know who these two girls were. I kind of wish I did, but they were like, Yeah, I can't remember. But anyways, they go with me. We get to the facility. We sneak into the facility somehow, some way. I don't even know how that was possible because I don't even feel like I would actually have the balls to do that in real life. But we sneak into the facility and then it was so elaborate. We are like on this platform thing and we're over to like kind of the left, okay? And we look and the moon, the actual moon, like in Despicable Me, like the moon, how he shrinks it down, but it wasn't really that shrunken. It was bigger. But the moon was sitting on this like tall stand cylinder thing, sitting there. And we were like, what the heck? That is literally the moon. It looks like the moon. It's glowing like the moon. It's like a circular sphere thing. Maybe this is all true. So we're like, we should sneak inside of the moon because for some reason I knew or we thought that you could get inside the moon. Anyways, I'm gonna wrap this up. I don't know if you care, but it's kind of funny. We sneak over to like where the freaking moon is sitting on this huge cylinder thing, and there's a door. And so I'm like, oh my gosh, we should go in. We should go in the freaking moon. This is crazy. This is a crazy conspiracy theory that's real. And so we go in, we sit there, and then I see through like the crack of the hatch, or I hear first like people talking, and then I see that there's these two workers that come out of nowhere. And we were like, oh shit, this is not good. So we're sitting there like all quiet inside of the moon. I wanna go to the moon. Don't leave so soon. Anyways, we sit and we're looking at these workers, and this one worker is like the manager, and it's telling he's telling her, this other worker, like, hey, you should go make sure the moon's all good and go take it out to the field, or like this like field, and I'll explain that in a second. And so she's like, okay, and so we're like, oh shit, she's coming. So she comes, and the guy leaves, and she actually sees me inside the moon, and she was like, and she looked at me, and I looked at her, and we looked at each other, and then basically she was a homie, and she kind of gave me the look like, I know what you're doing, you snuck inside the moon, you wanted to have some fun, now I'm gonna try and get you out of this, and so you better be freaking quiet because my manager's here. And somehow we looked at each other and I knew that she was trying to help me. I don't know why. I literally don't know. But so like I turned to my girls and I'm like, you better quiet. She shuts us in the moon. She gets this huge freaking crane thing, picks the moon up. Also, the moon has water in it. I don't know why. She picks this up. She sets it in this truck. We're all sitting there like in the water and we're like, oh my gosh, crazy. She drives. It feels like we're driving forever. We're screwed, or we think we're screwed. And then we get to this like outdoor facility that's like all gated across, and it's this huge field, but we're on the outside of it, and it has like all these keep out signs. And she opens the hatch and she's like, Kate, never say anything that you saw here tonight. I'm going to trust you and just leave, okay? Just leave. She didn't say anything else. She didn't ask us any questions. She just like let us go. We were like, okay. So we leave. But as we're leaving, we're like running away. I don't know where we were going to. I don't know if we were calling an Uber or what we were doing. But as we're leaving, we're walking, I turn around and this girl had gone onto this, it kind of looked like a diving board like thing, like you go up the tower and it's like diving board, but it was also like a crane. She had gone and picked up the moon and moved it over into the field. And it was so interesting because there was this clock on the side, and the crane tower thing, what I knew instinctively, I don't know how, is that it was rising slowly, and it was going the exact, obviously, trajectory that the moon usually goes when it's like rising in the nighttime and moving throughout the night and whatever. And so it just like was hooked up, and it was moving, and it was glowing, and you couldn't see where the crane was hooked to. It was like invisible, so it just looked like a floating ball. And if you looked up at it, because it was dark, you just thought it was the moon. You couldn't see anything else. And it was like fake. It was fake. It was completely fake. Some people here believe that the moon landing was fake, okay? Well, apparently my dream is that the whole moon in general is fake, not even just the moon landing. I don't know. But it was very elaborate and very interesting. And I woke up, I told my husband naturally because we always share dreams and it's cool. And also my mother, if you haven't watched this other episode, which I'll link it up here, my mother literally studies dreams for a living. And I haven't told her about this one yet. I have yet to tell her. But I told my husband, I'm like, how elaborate and interesting was this? Like, this was just not a dream. Like, usually my dreams are like, I'm dreaming that I don't even know. I'm trying to run, but I don't have any legs. And then I'm like also trying to get away from something scary. Like, I don't know. My dreams like also don't make sense. And then they'll like switch between scenes and then the scenes don't make sense. But this was like chronological order, made sense. It made sense. That's all I can tell you. And I feel like my brain was just in such a conspiracy theory mode because of all the real things that are happening right now, that it was like, maybe everything's fake. Maybe the moon is fake. Maybe stars are fake. Maybe I'm fake. Maybe you're fake because of AI. You know, you look online and there's like AI videos that are actually tricking me now. And actually, if you guys haven't known, Google just released their new, it was called like Nano Banana or Banana Nano or something. Maybe I should look that up. But they just released their new video editing software and AI software. It's naturally AI based. That is just undistinguishable from anything else. And if you don't follow my Instagram, you should, because I posted about it on my story. This guy does really good reporting on AI, and he did like Joe Rogan talking to Steve Jobs and like generated all these images, or Joe Rogan talking to Rokana, or like all these funny things. Or what was the other ones? He did like 3D rendering of his lighting, whatever, it doesn't matter. But basically, it is indistinguishable. Like AI has gotten so good that is, shoot, my ring. Ugh. Okay. AI has gotten so good that it is completely indistinguishable. So now, naturally, that I'm online, and we're all online, you have to almost start to think everything is fake. I could be fake. You could be fake. The comments could be fake. The comments could be botted. Literally, the news could be fake. Stories could be fake. ChatGPT could be writing articles. Like, we don't know to the extent of what is going to be real and what is going to be fake. Okay? And naturally, with my dream and with things that are happening in the government right now, it's just becoming so unbelievable. And I don't see a way out of this where it's like we don't all just turn off our phones, which we should do anyways, but we don't just all completely shut off everything and start actually talking to people freaking real and face to face with one another, or at least like having more laws to do with AI, you know, like, I mean, that's like a freaking given, but maybe that's controversial. Maybe everything I've literally said in this entire episode already is controversial, and that's fine. I'm not even trying to be political or controversial. It's just the facts of what is happening right now. Everything feels weird. Everything feels fake. I'm sorry, it just does. I sit here and I think about people like Rick Rubin, Rick Rubin, if you don't know him, he's incredible. He wrote the book A Creative Act, or The Creative Act, A Way of Being. And he also was a music producer, or is a music producer, worked with like the most world-renowned musicians of all time. He's amazing. If you don't know him, you really should follow him. But he said something so profound one time on this podcast I was listening to. I believe it was on Andrew Huberman's, the Huberman Labs podcast, because they're good friends. And he said that he loves WWE. And the reason, or one of the reasons why he loves WWE is because he knows that it's fake. Okay? Which makes it real. And maybe this won't make sense to you, but he said he loves WWE because it's fake, which makes it real. He knows that it's fake, so he knows that he can believe the story at hand. Where we think about other stories, okay? Some people think like freaking sports are fake, which maybe they are. Maybe they're totally rigged. Where it's like you don't actually know if it's faked or not. And so at least with WWE, you know that it's fake, which makes it imaginative and fun, and it almost makes it more real than anything else. It was very odd and weird, but such a cool topic and thought. And everything he says, like literally his brain is just incredible. He's so cool. If I sit here and think about like my dream guests on my show, he's probably top 3, maybe my number 1 guest if I could ever, because his creative brain is amazing. But yeah, like that makes total sense to me. And I think about like how everything's going to rapidly change and how it already has, and it's like we're just trying to figure out how to deal with it. That's crazy. It is crazy. And now we're going to transition into something that has to do with the arts in a way. But again, this is another spicy topic that I feel like shouldn't be as spicy as it is, but it is because of all these other things that are attached to this topic. And that is the movie Christy. I went and I watched the movie Christy recently because it's out in theaters. And I loved it. I loved it. And I look online and I only see negative reviews about it. Okay? And obviously, like, Sydney Sweeney has her own, people have their own things to say about Sydney Sweeney. Okay? But separate her from the movie, and I still see people critiquing the movie and the acting in and of itself. And I don't know if I watched a different movie. I don't know if I experienced it different than other people, but I don't understand how that is the case. I really don't. I feel like the acting was on point. The story, one, it's a real story. Christy Martin is a real boxer. It's insane. And I will have to give a little bit of a trigger warning as well as possibly a spoiler. So if you haven't seen it, you need to go watch it. But the story of the real Christy Martin and the domestic violence she went through and how she lived after her husband literally tried to, I don't know if I can say that, so tried to make her not here anymore. I was sitting in the theater, I'm like, one, how have I not heard about this? It's like, I know that it's kind of like a niche topic, like obviously not a ton of people are interested in boxing or female boxing or whatever, but it was the most insane story ever. And I give Christy Martin, the real woman, like all the praise in the world. I literally can't believe she even got back up and boxed after that too. Like, she's just a freaking hero. It literally could make me cry. And the filming and the cinematography of the boxing itself was so good. I think about movies like Creed and what is it called? Southpaw and Rudy, what is it called? There's another one I'm thinking of, I can't remember. There's so many, but it's like, yeah, those are boxing movies. Creed was so well, like the cinematography was amazing. And I feel like Christy was right up there with the cinematography. I really do. Like, you look at the movements, you look at the coloring, you look at everything, and it was so good. It really was. And also, I loved the car that she drove. Maybe I'll put it up here somewhere. It was like a pink, I believe, maybe it was like a BMW or like a Miata, but it was convertible. It was so cute. And I also sit there and I think about all the hate and the discourse online. And I'm like, whatever you think about Sydney Sweeney, whatever you think of her, I feel so bad for Christy Martin. And I feel so bad because she endorsed Sydney Sweeney's performance. She loved it. She worked on the set. And whatever you feel about Sydney Sweeney, Christy, the movie, and Christy Martin, it was nothing to do with her. And I feel like people need to separate that enough to give this woman, the real woman of Christy Martin, grace and love and support her, because at the end of the day, Christy was about her story. It wasn't about Sydney Sweeney. Could they have gone with someone else for the casting? Yeah, sure, they could have. They could have done that with so many people, you know, like, but I sit there and I'm like, this isn't about anyone else but Christy and honoring Christy. And if Christy Martin, the real lady, liked this movie as she said she does and worked on this movie and went through what she went through to showcase her story, if she likes it, I feel like that should be the be-all end-all, and you should go and support her and go and support this show and this movie. I really do. I feel like people get so caught up in so much drama all the time that they don't think about the other people that are around the craft that deserve your love and your admiration and your grace for. And yeah, it makes me sad, and it makes me feel like it really did cloud everything, the whole Sydney Sweeney thing. And honestly, with Sydney Sweeney, like, I think she's a good actress. I do. Sorry. I really do. Whether you think she's a good person or not, I don't know. I don't know her. There's probably a lot of people that don't know her. And maybe she's just trying to get that bag like everybody else, but we don't know. We don't know. Whew, I didn't feel like I was going to get that fired up about it, but it's true. It's true what I said. Also, I ordered this from Starbucks. You know when you want to just like go out of your comfort zone with your coffee order, and then you do it, and then it's like the worst decision of your life, and you don't know why you just didn't stick with what you regularly stick with, and then you can't really do anything about it. Also, I almost never order from Starbucks, just so everybody knows. Today was a different story. I was picking it up for someone, and I also, I don't even have to explain, but just not a good order. Just not a good one this time. And it was my fault. It was my bad. It was unfortunate. Yeah. I want to go to the moon. Oh my gosh, I probably shouldn't be singing that song either. You know, there's a lot of controversy with that as well. Man, is this the one breakout episode that I'm just going to get canceled for all of my thoughts and my feelings? Maybe. Do we think cancellation works? Chat, go down in the comments below. Do you think that cancellation and the cancellings of people have actually worked? Whether they deserve it or not. Do you feel like it's worked? Because I feel like cancel culture really hasn't worked for most people. If you just keep posting the content, keep doing your thing, I feel like it doesn't really do anything. And there should be people that should be canceled, or at least not listened to, whether they have a platform still or not. But I feel like it doesn't work as well as we'd like to think so. Where it's like, maybe we should go and change the world in different ways besides being angry on the internet. You know, I also sit here and I'm like, I think back. I'm like, have I ever left a hate comment on somebody's thing? I don't feel like I have. And I feel like if you're leaving hate comments on the reg, on like Sydney Sweeney's posts or freaking anybody's posts for that matter, we're only talking about Sydney Sweeney because of the movie, but like, I'm like, you're kind of weird. I'm sorry, it's kind of a weird, 'cause I'm a creep. I'm a weirdo. You're a weirdo. Why the hell are you posting hate comments on people's Instagram that you really don't know and it doesn't really affect you? And I'll like scroll through Instagram. Instagram's just a freaking mean place, okay? It's mean. I think about TikTok too. I get hate comments on TikTok, but I'm like, Instagram, I have truly felt just like distant from, because I just look at the comments with people that are like grocery shopping or doing their makeup or talking about being married, and the comments I see, I'm like, holy, we gotta get off this, because why would you ever comment that? Why is there something to hate on? I literally don't know. If you are posting hate comments, you are a creep. You are a weirdo. I don't know. There's like few times I can think, okay, fair. Hate comment, fair there. But there's a lot that I'm like, man, you gotta have better coping skills than posting hate comments on X or online. You gotta find other coping skills. I can list a few. Freaking maybe working out, reading, journaling's a great one, listening to music, go to the rage rooms. You know, like there's like rage rooms in Utah where you like destroy stuff. Go do that, you know? Like, go to a therapist. I don't know if that's a coping mechanism. Could work though. Could work. Anyways, is there anything else? Let me check if there's anything else. What are you guys up to? How have you guys been? Have you been good? I've been good. I've been good besides everything's fake, and it's fine. It's fine. You know what I was gonna do? I was gonna make a tinfoil crown, put it on my head, because it's like, all of these are conspiracy theories that I'm talking about, and I want to do more later on, but I just feel like that'd be funny, you know? Because it's like tinfoil hat, right? Aliens. Anyways, I don't even know if that's funny or not. Okay, I also want to let you guys know that I still have the fall playlist linked in my Spotify. I can link everything down below. I love music. Some say that I actually have a very good taste of music. I've made music. I write songs. Not that that even matters, that has anything to do with this, but I have a new fall playlist called For When the Air Gets Crisp. I put it together. I had some of you guys comment on my Instagram and my stories and put those songs in there, and I could maybe start adding to it if you have any other songs that you believe should be in the fall playlist. What is the best fall girl song or fall boy song? I know it's November and almost Christmas, but it's Thanksgiving. It's still fall. There's still leaves on the ground, okay? So I have that. Follow me on Instagram, TikTok, anything you want. Let me know what you think about the show. And let's hope this doesn't get me canceled. Until next time.